Call to order the City Council meeting for City of East Grand Forks for Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017 is now 5 o'clock. Executive Assistant, please call roll.
Mayor Steve Gander.
Here.
Council President Mark Olsted.
Here.
Council Vice President Chad Grassel.
Here.
Council Members Clarence Vetter.
Here.
Mike Pakshavinsky.
Here.
Tim Riopel.
Here.
Henry Tweeten.
Here.
Mark Demers.
Present.
Does term quorum please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open forum and opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on items not on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff or boards and commissions for research and future council agendas if appropriate. If you would like to address the City Council at this time, please come up to the podium. Mike? Ever state your name and address, please.
My name is Mike Powers. I'm at 437 Fifth Avenue Southeast. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. What I would like to do is revisit the quiet railroad crossing issue. We studied this in depth in 2009. Grand Forks got some things done. We didn't. But as a member of Sacred Heart and a person that people feel comfortable talking to, I feel there's a need for we talk about it again. I don't know how or what the protocol is. The other day at an MPO meeting, I asked Earl Haugen after we got done with our meeting, and he said, get with your council, get their approval, and then we'll go from there. I have no idea how much it would cost. I'd just like to explore the opportunity to revisit. I have a million questions. I have some information that was given to me from Jane Williams, traffic engineer in Grand Forks, who basically carried the football when they did their closers. And she sent me a ton of stuff, but it's very incomplete. And like one thing she sent me was a sign-in sheet for a meeting, and you know that's completely irrelevant right now. But there was a memo from SRF. I think they were the consulting engineer on the project, and right at the bottom of the first page it says what needs to be done is this, this, and this, and I don't have the second page. So I went up to see Peggy down in the MPO office earlier this afternoon, and she gave me this, which would be good reading on a rainy day. It's the quiet zone assessment that was done in 2010. But right now what I would like is your gentlemen support and approval of it so that we can go forward.
I know, Mike, we talked a little bit about that regarding going after some safety grants, if there's anything that we, state of Minnesota, if there's anything. I know that, there are no crossings or no armed crossings there currently, correct? That's the way it's set up, and that was one thing that, we talked about for quiet zone, that it's going to have those.
Right.
So, I mean, one of that cost for that is going to have to be looked at again, and I think maybe, I don't know if maybe Nancy, if there's anything we can go after that's going to be for safety, for transportation grants or something like that out there.
MnDOT has rail safety. For rail safety, the unfortunate thing is oftentimes those crossings are ones that have near misses or accidents, and those are the first ones. The reason why the crossing, the quiet zone study was done at the time was because BNSF was willing to pay for the quiet zone, provided that we got a certain amount from the DOT and we followed through on certain things for them. So BNSF was the one that really engaged that study. They were the ones that were willing to commit the funds. We turned down the offer for those funds. Granite Forks did accept it and had to put some of their own city money into it, but that's how they got the quiet zone. But that being said, it appears like some of the work has been done at the 3 crossings that they would need, so it would be a matter of trying to go after rail safety funds through the DOT, see if we can get that, or if there's BNSF might have.
Is that usually an 80-20?
Railroad is 90-10.
90-10? Okay.
The last time I was involved, I don't know where it's at now.
Okay.
But I mean, if you can't get any money unless unless you want it, I guess.
Right.
The last time we didn't want it, so then it was never really pursued.
Well, the reason we didn't want it is one of the conditions was closing a crossing, and that was contentious, and it's why it eventually was rejected. So I understand Mr. Powers' proposal is to keep all the crossings
Keep all
open
3 that are
and upgrade them to the quiet zone specifications. So I just want to make sure that the public understands that we didn't reject it because we didn't want a quiet zone. It's because there was a disagreement about the conditions that were laid out by BNSF in order to pay for it.
The 3 that I'm addressing are at 2nd Avenue, Central, and 3rd Avenue Northeast, I think it is. And as you know well, one of them just got done recently. 2 of these, 2nd Avenue and Central, they've got state-of-the-art crossings now. I think one thing that like Mike and I were talking about is that you need to put in a berm so you can't drive around the crossing arms once they're down. But all 3 of these have that CWT, that constant warning time. That's that little gray shed, looks like an outhouse, and it's got a little white light on the side of the wall. When that white light is shining and the train is coming from either direction, that tells the engineer that all the safety equipment that should be in place is functional and operating. So what I'm hoping for is that in light of what's been accomplished already, the price tag on it won't be prohibitive. And I just found my lucky penny on the counter here, so maybe I'm off to a good start. But any questions? Thank you.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Anybody have any issues with us looking at it or having, so, okay.
I would have to agree that for residents along through there, it would be awfully nice from a quality of life standpoint, and including the church and the kids that play outside there, part of the school. So it's sure worth taking a look at.
Yep. All right.
Mike,
But
thank you. My only suggestion is making sure that we have buy-in from all the parties around there first, before we approach BNSF. I'd be willing to talk to them. I've already had a couple conversations with some folks from BNSF, so if you want to keep that going, but I would just make sure we don't burn that bridge twice.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mike. Move on, approval of minutes for March 21st special meeting, April 18th regular meeting, and April 25th work session. Moved by Grassel, second by Demers. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel,
Yes.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Scheduled bid lettings, none. Scheduled public hearings, none. Consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda will be adopted with one motion. However, council members may request individual items to be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion and action they choose. To note, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9, 7 was pulled from the agenda. So this will be a motion for 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9, and 10, excuse me. Moved by Mr. Vetter. Second by Mr. Grasso. Any discussion or questions? Mr. Vetter?
Thank you. Mr. Hutton, where are we at with the compressors?
Thank you. We heard back from Simcoe Refrigeration that they can't expedite the parts. They won't guarantee anything in advance of 60 days, anything sooner than that. And the reason for that being is some of the parts are going to be manufactured, so they don't want to guarantee any faster turnaround with that. With that, though, they did say they feel comfortable at least in saying the second compressor that's still all intact and we finish the ice season on, that we should be able to make it through the month of June on that. They said, you know, the worst that can happen is we can start it up and hopefully putter through a few weeks with it, and by that time maybe the new parts are in and they can get the other one overhauled and we could do a flip partway through the ice season. So they're comfortable in at least giving us, after having some conversation with them following last week's meeting, with giving us a professional opinion of saying, yeah, try it and at least put ice in and see where it takes you. So that'd be my recommendation as we start the second compressor on the standing that it was at the end of the season, knowing that oil release valve is bad in it and that we are going to want to look at getting that replaced as well. I got a price to get that ordered at the same time if we want to, and then to look at overhauling that first compressor.
And it's possible the parts may come in before the 60 days anyway?
It's possible, but they didn't want to guarantee that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anybody else have anything? Seeing none, roll call,
Thank you.
please.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel,
Yes.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Acknowledge receipt of reports of officers, boards, and commissions. Regular meeting minutes of Water, Light, Power, and Building Commission for April 6, 2017. Communication, there is none. Old business, number 12, consider adopting ordinance number 18, 4th series, replacing City Code Chapter 117 entitled Alcoholic Beverages, and adopting by reference City Code Chapter 1 in Section 10.99, which among other things contain penalty provisions. Second reading.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Tweeden.
Second.
Second by Riepel. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel,
Yes.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Under new business, number 13, consider adopting resolution number 17-05-30, approving the official summary of ordinances 18, 4th series, to be published in the official newspaper.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Demers.
Second.
Second by Riepel. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel,
Yes.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Number 14, consider approving the hiring of Angela Salgado to fill the position of Public Service Librarian and to be placed on grade 17, step 1 at annual salary of $57,179.20.
Move.
Demers? Second by Riepel. Any discussion? Charlotte, do you have anything?
I just want to let you know that the start date is May 8th. Once we have her on board, I'll bring her over and introduce her.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel,
Yes.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter.
No.
Motion is carried. Number 15, consider adopting resolution number 17-05-31, approving a reorganization of library staff and eliminate positions that was recommended by the library board.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Tweeden, second by Pakshavinsky. Sorry. Any discussion or questions? Anything to add, Mr. Charlotte, at all?
Just to let you know, we had budgeted 40 hours of decrease in part-time people, and with this restructuring, we will be going down 50 hours part-time and adding the 40-hour full-time person, and I think we've got it all set.
Anybody have anything? Nope. Roll call, please.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel,
Yes.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter.
No.
Motion is carried. Under claims, number 16, consider authorizing the city administrator, clerk, treasurer to issue payments or recommend bills and payroll.
Move.
Moved by Demers, second by Pakshavinsky. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Pakshavinsky,
Yes.
Riepel,
Yes.
Tweeten,
Yes.
Olsted,
Yes.
Grassel,
Yes.
Demers,
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Mayor Gander.
Reed, if you had anything else that you wanted to add. I really enjoyed the meeting that we had recently with our local park superintendent and the regional office director of the Minnesota DNR Parks and Trails. And I can just tell you, as for conversation that we had, I think they're a good group to work with. I think they have priorities that go to the whole region, and certainly they go statewide. And I think we really, at least for me, I gave them a commitment for my part of it that I'll work within their priorities from a legislative standpoint and try to stack, you know, whatever they feel is important for their parks and trails in this region, and then to fit our priorities inside of that. Reed, if I miss anything, but I was just thinking through of the things that we visited about, and I was pretty excited. There's been always talk about an interpretive center and what that might look like. And I know just very, very quietly, even through our fire department, there's a thought that maybe we could have an emergency shelter for the campers on the first level and maybe go interpretive level up above where you could actually see out to the greenway. Maybe there's some funding for that because it is also an emergency feature more than just an interpretive center. Possible camper cabins. I hadn't really thought of that, of where we might position something like that inside of our campground, but apparently those are very, very popular. They fill up kind of well in advance of even some of the camping sites, and that was something actually recommended by this regional director as something that for infrastructure that could be put in there possibly somewhere into the future. We did talk about the road situation, and we'll try to get some better numbers on some of that, and also again fit that into their budget priorities from a legislative standpoint. And then we also did talk about opening up the sight lines along River Road, along where that handicapped access fishing area is. And he said, you know what, that can be done if we coordinate that with the folks who look at vegetation, find something that stays a little bit lower to the ground, replace it, you know, take this out, put that in. So it was, I thought it was a pretty productive conversation. Read any other highlights I might have missed? Okay. So I appreciated the chance to meet with the folks, and I think they'll be good to work with. That's all I have.
Mr. Vedder.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Paczynski.
Just to encourage residents and businesses to contact our Park and Rec department and get involved with Adopt a Garden and sponsoring flower baskets and flower pots. It's the weather's turning beautiful, and it's time to beautify our city, and encourage everybody to get involved.
Mr. Riepel.
Nothing.
Mr. Tweeten.
Nothing.
Mr. Demers.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mr. Grass.
Nothing.
I agree that River Road, I know Mr. Grasso and I have both brought it up, and that sightline there is, put it lightly, is hideous, destructive. Stuff they did plant there is growing, but stuff that's wild and is not appealing when you drive through there. So hopefully that can be accomplished, and I appreciate you bringing that up to them. I do not have anything else, though.
The only thing I have is that a reminder that I will be out at the MCMA City Managers Conference for the rest of the week.
Mr. Goldstein.
I have nothing unless anybody has questions for me.
Emery.
I have nothing.
Anything from the department heads? Seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second by Grasso, second by Demers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned.
We can visit for a minute.
Just have them get a hold of me, because I just need to. I'm sure he's busy. It's the time of year.